The first 80% with AI is magic, right? You go from nothing to this really cool thing very quickly. Those last 20%.
Unfortunately, Cisco is letting go of a good number of workforce, and I was impacted.
So right now we are branding it for each extension. And for each extension, I had to do a little logo. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do the same things.
Has been times that I get stuck because I go into rabbit holes and then I'm like, okay, I need to stop right here.
If you never coded before, or if you never used no-code tools, never launched a website without a developer, now is just the time. You have all the tools for us designers to understand that it's not just really about being a designer, because we have the process, we understand how products work, what are the research phases, what you have to do to validate your idea. But a lot of people that have never done anything before, a lot of people that have thought about it or just have vision, they are actually building and shipping. And designers, very soon, you take this ownership. Generalists, people like me, are entering in the golden age again, because being a specialist was always the case. But right now, the most you can know about the process and about the market. It's not really about being an expert or knowing everything. I also don't know everything. I believe nobody does. But the idea here is really for us to share what we know and understand that everyone know things you don't, or the opposite as well. So everyone, be welcome.
I'm Amanda. I'm a lead product designer at Cisco, and the way I work with AI is like a collaborator, also brainstorm companion, and it really helps kick off like designs early in the process as you get like wireframes going. And Carla, this morning, unfortunately, Cisco is letting go of a good number of workforce, and I was impacted. So now I feel more than ever motivated to take action on the workshop you did. So thank you, Carla.
That's really hard. I'm sorry for you, Amanda, but that happens all the time, right? And I believe that is really, like you said, a good opportunity, because sometimes it's really about you keeping things updated and not let all the work for you to go after and have to redo everything.
I work as a product designer at Cloud IM. It's identity and access, management SaaS. It's a French company. I am the only product designer, and basically Cloud is very embedded in the company. I vibe coded the first time, so I did my first merge request that hopefully is going to go to production. I implemented small pieces of AI here and there, but I yet don't feel that I created a whole system that really works everywhere for the design part. This is my approach for now.
I'm a designer. My background is in graphic design, but transitioning into UX UI, and I have been utilizing AI a lot for work. I have been playing with AI, and there has been times that I get stuck because what I have in my head, it just doesn't translate, and sometimes I do have to start from scratch, and then I go into rabbit holes, and then I'm like, okay, I need to stop right here.
I'm also from Carla's country. I'm also from Brazil. I'm a UX designer. I've been doing this 20 plus years. I've always been dabbling in code, and I've always done automation and stuff like this. And I think AI came exactly to be the perfect tool for me, because I'm a person who loves the tech, but I don't understand it. I'm always on the edge looking at what people are doing and saying, man, I wish I understood that, but I don't want to become a developer. And I think AI has become this bridge for me. So not only is it something that I use on a lot of my processes, from brainstorming to coding to experimenting, and also this automation layer where I do most of my testing. I have a lot of good things and a giant pile of failures that I can share. I'm also somebody who have trouble shipping myself. I could have shipped a ton of things in the last 2 years, and it's just also not been a thing that I've done the way I wanted to.
You got to know a little bit of everyone here. Let's talk about the start. We all integrated AI in the last couple of years to our work. And I was really slow, because I believe that AI came to help me was with writing, because I could code, I could build native apps using no code, and I have built a lot of other things using no code tools. So I want to hear from you a little bit of this experience. Like, how did you feel that you were doing it for the company, but not for your personal projects?
First, I want to build off like how you're saying it helped you a lot with writing. Yes, content writing takes a while, especially product design work. That definitely gave me the boost for sure. And then not using it for personal life, I guess I had a thought like, oh, it's only for work and not necessarily for personal life. But actually this past month, I started like tinkering with a side business idea and I started pulling in AI. And that's when I realized like, oh, I could definitely leverage this a lot more. And now seeing like how others are sharing how they're using agents and those workflows, like if I'm going to build this small business, it's definitely the time to adopt it more for sure.
I use it for a lot of different tasks like this that were daunting. And what it made me think when you said that is the blank page problem. This is where AI really helps me, which is when I go from zero to having something. It also creates problems, which is the brain fry of interacting with the fire hose of content that AI gives you. But I feel like it certainly has helped me go from not doing something at all to actually doing something. I'm very self-critical. I have a hard time just starting. And AI has no problems just starting.
I have been using AI for writing, and that's something that I also struggle where I have rough text and then maybe needs to be refined, and it's helping it have my personality. Definitely does help.
I believe that's the biggest point with AI, right? If you don't have guidelines of how you write, you always sound a little bit robotic or like everyone else, which is a shame because every one of us have a style. We have a certain way that we speak with our friends. We have a certain style of saying things. Like, I am a little bit sarcastic. I try to bring some fun to the things that I talk about. So that style really impacts the way people read you.
Before product design, I used to be an architect. So I did career transition 3.5 years ago. When I did this, some skills from architecture transferred to UX. But not all. I am the person of why. Why this, why that? I had the luck to have access to ChatGPT Pro since it was launched. I had the trust in it to ask, why is this like this in UX? Why? And I feel that my seniority raised enormously just because I had somebody there to explain me. And now that I am in cybersecurity, which is a complex field. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna link you to this. Just go in the console and tell me what the developer wanted to do here. So basically, I'm asking Claude to explain me in my words what the user is gonna do. Claude is not able to act like a product designer yet. That's my feeling, but it's able to explain me the technicality I cannot understand by myself, or I would need a developer to explain me. It would be a lot of time and so on.
That's amazing, the point you bring, because a lot of people didn't figure out yet that you can do that you can just ask it to explain you how to do that, or how you do that step by step, or how you do the thing you never did. And I love the example you gave, because that's a way that you helped you learn, right? And learning is really important. Yesterday was ChatGPT, today is Claude, tomorrow might be Gemini. So what do you decide to do with the tools you have, if every single day there is a new tool out there? So moving on from that, let's share a little bit where AI made you feel stuck and how you got out of it.
I know that an LLM is not intelligent in the way that we are, but it is a super intelligence. So it can process information and it outputs information. So we kind of tend to forget that. And for me, I tend to multitask a lot because you can. So for me, it's stuck is either doing too many things and losing track of what the hell I'm doing, added to this brain fry. So the brain fry meaning like you're writing a text with Claude and it starts out great and then you want to improve it. And the first 80% with AI is magic, right? You go from nothing to this really cool thing very quickly. Those last 20%, that's what takes technique, and that's what takes you learning what to do, because those last 20% to get to the thing that you have in your head or that your client wants or that your boss wants, that's where you get screwed. I think the brain fry really hits at that point because you are looking at the output, finding out what changed. There's a point at which you can't read anything and you just think everything looks good enough and you just have to stop. So this is for me the big wall. And I've developed different ways to cope with this, but it's still part of the process. And that added to all of this thing that you just said, Carla, of like, things are changing all the time. Am I using something that is extremely outdated? The FOMO is just constant. I feel like there's a lot of psychological stuff to work on in terms of how you cope with all of this.
When I get the 80%, I do edit, in this case, text by myself, because I think it's easier. Then I add it there. And then when I have my version, I just ask it to rate my text according to the goals I have for it, and to show me what could be improved instead of he'll write it. It's a little bit more specific. 80% is ready. That is where I believe we all should stop and do the 20% ourselves. We can feel overwhelmed, we can feel confused, our brains can fry with this type of conversation that has never ended. But what is good for you? Is there something that AI has helped you achieve that you wouldn't have otherwise?
I have a few little examples from my current work. I'm giving certain little tasks to Claude. What I'm trying to do is actually to give the task I don't want to do. So we are currently working on a bunch of extensions for the console. And each extension, because in the future it will become a marketplace, so it can be branded. And for each extension, I had to do a little logo. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do the same thing. So what I did is that I created a model in Figma. I did MCP with Claude, and I said, okay, each developer that wants to deliver an extension, you give the technical description of the extension, you give it to Claude, and you take it yourself from Figma. I'm not gonna touch this. For the website, we need to do another page. Taking it hand by hand and redoing and everything, this would take a lot of time. And I just gave it to Claude. I gave an example from Google, because Google has very nice little tutorials when you are looking for certain stuff. And I said, you see this? Just look at the website, take the direction artistic, and you do the illustrations. And it did it 80% nice. Then I polished it. I like to think. I'm a person that likes to think. So I prefer to outsource the stuff I don't like. So this is how AI made my life easier.
I wanted to talk about when you give the instructions and you don't get the results, or you have to iterate a lot.
I started doing my website. I already had the SVG file, all the illustrations and stuff, and I was using Figma Make at the beginning. But then once I started adding hotspots on when you select this area, this happens. It became really messy. So it got to a point that it was completely stuck. And I was like, oh, I spent so much time doing this. That was blocker for me. Okay, I'm gonna have to start over again. I did. And when I did that, I also make sure that I created my animation through After Effects, and then did Lottie files, then got the JSON file, and then SVG, I added it and I cleaned the layers, and I got to a spot that is working, but I had to do a lot of manual stuff before. Animation was sloppy, and now I feel like it's at a place that I wanted it, but I had to do a manual animation.
If you think that AI is going to help you, it might. But if you have an example of something you already want or is already working, you have better results in the end. So all the guidelines you can give to AI, you make your work easier, and probably you achieve more than 80%.
I agree with you, but I failed big time one time. So what I had to do was to do a very similar page to our website. I had all the pages in Figma, all the tokens very well done, website running, and the content from the marketing person, which was well structured. I did Claude MCP Figma. I had big hopes. It was horrible. It just needed to reuse the same components from Figma. It was very bad, and that's where I ended up doing it by hand. I'm not sure yet, but my theory is that The MCP Figma doesn't work very well, but the GitHub or GitLab works amazingly. So yes, I agree, but we are starting to talk which brick are we using for each problem. And I think that's the big discussion when it comes to AI from design point of view.
What you described is the type of cycle that I keep encountering. And there's something about us learning about the tools or the limitations or workarounds, but also the tools change. So that's a big challenge. I think you just look at everybody's posts and it's like everybody has it figured out. It's all very young. And at the end of the day, the different expertises that we have, it really helps how we deal with this problem. A lot of people are out there saying, I just set up this agency they're making millions of lines of code and this and that. And it's like, is that good what they're doing? For me, it's much more interesting to find these processes in a more sustainable way, and that involves having the human in the loop part.
Yeah, there's like a pressure through like social media and like LinkedIn that you need to ship fast and stuff, but sometimes like it really is about like learning and then like learning how to prompt and all that stuff, and then sometimes it's just the pressure that it will come out like right off the bat, but it's like no, that you still have a lot of iterations and like then you refine points and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of like we don't see the messiness of it, like we just see that people are posting like it's shipped and stuff, but it takes a little bit of a while to get to the spot that you want, you know?
What's the best AI tool out there? What project did you do that you are most proud about?
Okay. I think Claude has been doing a good job, and then how you taught us how to use the VS Code. I feel like that's a workflow that is working for me. I was stuck in Figma Make, and I didn't want to transfer that, but then I need to start somewhere because like this is not working, and I feel like that has helped me, and I'm in a good spot right now that I could possibly ship my website soon, but it took me a long time. It's been months, and it was a big blocker for me. But now I feel confident with Claude, and then with my manual work that I had to do for it.
When I'm exploring design, it's Claude. There's no comparison. GPT is unfortunately way behind it. I just finished a website, not a big deal, but it was highly illustrated. We committed to do the illustrations with AI. It was crazy the amount of work we did, but I learned a lot. That's what I want to talk about, which is going to be how I went through, how I did the whole brainstorming, boarding, all of the stuff. There was some strong AI in each of these parts, so I think this was great. The site itself, you're going to look at it, looks like not that big of a deal, but the way that we did it in like 2 weeks was really something I'm happy with.
I'm mostly full on Claude, even if I pay a subscription personally for ChatGPT. I keep it for recipes and almost nothing related to work. I think even if we didn't get to talk about design systems and Claude and how powerful it is, so far I am proud of succeeding to deliver. It's not yet in production, but we are going there. Some parts for the console of Cloud IM, which has been done by developers, so there is nearly nothing in Figma for the existing, and the UI kit or design system. I'm proud that somehow I managed to ship some stuff, and I'm proud for my future, the future me, when I will do a design system with a real storybook, and I will try my plan for the next weeks to do, Claude is already branched to the console, to try to overwrite these tokens based on a Figma file that I created. Let's see what's gonna happen. It's a super experiment for me because it's a big scale, but I'm proud that this is happening. I'm happy.
I really love using Claude just for brainstorming. I mentioned earlier, content creation. And what I'm proud of, it didn't officially ship, but I was able to create a demo using Lovable and the internal AI tool that Cisco had, and that combination created a dashboard around the concept of sustainability, and it was an AI hackathon project. and it got a lot of traction. I even got to like demo it to the head of sustainability at Cisco, which I was really proud of. And it was meant to like, help set some guardrails over the usage of AI and the impact it does to our environment. So that really stuck with me, and I would love to see how that could carry forward in the future.
I am really proud of myself today because I just shipped my new portfolio website. I did that using AI. I have showed the example during my workshop that I did with some of you guys that were there. And I'm really happy that I finally have done. I thought I'm doing today this panel where you share all the things that we have learned throughout these last 2 years. And I am still having an Angular website that I created in 2016. So not anymore. Now it's built with Cloud Code. I can easily edit, and I use a database for that too. The first version is live. It has everything from the previous website. It looks a little bit nicer too. And I would love to hear your feedback if you check it out. And I want to hear from you guys if you have any questions. Know that now it's the time, because now it's the time. If you want to try to build your portfolio, you want to try to ship a first product using AI, I invite you to join my workshop.